USC football has landed 4 impact players, so sayeth ESPN. Chip Kelly thinks the Bruins are ready to play as fast as he wants to coach, and Michael Busch is trying to power his way back into the majors. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. So it is August 15th, 2023. In a moment, wifey and I are going to be heading to the beach for a couple of days. It's going to be glorious. I'll still put out a post tomorrow morning and whatnot, but just letting you know, I might be a little redder than normal. It'll be a beautiful thing. No phones, just waves. Hey, but in the meantime, let's keep in touch with LA sports. If you'd like being in the know about LA, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist and comment. It's always a good time talking to LA. So before we go through the news and notes, a quick look at the scoreboard. There were no games involving LA teams yesterday, but today, Milwaukee is coming into town to face the Dodgers at 7. This is good. We are talking about a clash of division leaders. But did you know LA has the Major League's best record since the All-Star break at 20-8. For tonight, it's Bobby Miller, 6-2 with a 3.89 ERA. Adrian Hauser, 4-3 with a 4.38 ERA. But let's talk a little football. 4 newer Trojans, were named to ESPN's top 50 newcomers list. It's comprised of players that were either recruited out of high school or came via the transfer portal. Linebacker Mason Cobb, a senior who played his first 3 years over at Oklahoma State, was ranked highest at number 8. Former wide receiver from Arizona, Dorian Singer, is number 14. And you can easily imagine that the amazing numbers that he put up for the Wildcats, more than 1,100 receiving yards, he could actually increase that, considering he's playing next to a quarterback who just won the Heisman Trophy last year. Now, he may not have the pedigree that Jordan Addison had, but you could easily see him being the Addison replacement in USC's offense. Former Georgia defensive linebacker Bear Alexander, he checks in at 25. And finally, there was only one high school recruit to make this particular cut. Wide receiver Zachariah Branch. Now, if you're like me, you're kind of hoping that 3 of the 4 would have been on defense. That's all right. Split it down the middle. It means at least USC is trying to balance it out. I have maintained for years that the moment that we know when USC football is back, and I mean really back, is not in terms of things like Heisman winners, but when somebody wears 55. See, that is a hallowed number to the Trojans program. It symbolizes the leader, not just for that particular team, but just somebody who they think is going to be in the pantheon of great USC linebackers. You're talking about people like Willie McGinnis. You're talking about people like the late Junior Seau. 55 has been worn by some of the best defensive players in USC history. And by the way, that was before, I was saying that before the Trojans defense face planted at the end of last year. They didn't have a 55. You have to be elite. And basically, you have to have the guts to wear that jersey. Lincoln Riley, by the way, may have only been here for a year and a half, but he's not stupid. He knows what these things represent. He coached over at Oklahoma. He knows what those sort of things mean to a major program. So I'm going to go out on a limb. But everything I read about freshman linebacker Tackett Curtis suggests that he could be that guy. I really believe that. Everybody at Heritage Hall keeps noticing how hard and fast this guy plays. Caleb Williams calls him a destroyer. Running backs coach Keel McDonald already has given him a nickname, Captain America. So if the Avengers are going to assemble in cardinal and gold, just saying, I think I know who's going to wear 55. One of the reasons is he brings consistency, and that matters. See, it really matters because we are getting mixed reports on some of the players on defense. Take in particular defensive linebacker Keon Barrs, a transfer from Arizona. There's this scribe from Sports Illustrated who could not stop hyping Barrs straight to the moon. Thought this guy was going to be an impact, just going to step right on in and dominate. But defensive line coach Sean Nua is tempering that enthusiasm. He's basically making it sound like Solomon Byrd and Bear Alexander have separated themselves on defensive line from the rest of the pack, and that would include Barrs. And believe me, coaches have a better idea than the scribes do, right? You would think. They're the ones making the decisions. Basically, he was saying that the coach was basically saying that Barrs needs to be more consistent and bring it on every single play. So there's that. Still questions for the Trojans on defense. Across town, Chip Kelly told the LA Times that the Bruins are faster and far better conditioned this season. Quote, I think you could just look at our bodies and they look a little leaner, a little bit more athletic. I think we're running better, and I know from our data from miles per hour and high-speed distances, explosive efforts, and all those other things, they're up from where we were here in the past. Now this matters. You don't have to be a genius if you watch UCLA football at all. My apologies, UCLA. They play a spread. They want to dictate tempo. They want to snap the ball and snap the ball and snap the ball. And consequently, when you put up a lot of points, the other team has to try to catch up. So they start running faster as well. You need players who can keep up with your coaching staff in that regard. Now, the scribe from the LA Times went on to write about how the team passes the eye test. That guy, I'm telling you, man, that guy is a cliche factory. I don't even know if he's capable of an original thought, but whatever. I have no idea what the eye test is. Oh, they passed the eye test. Are the players pouring baby oil down their chest and getting into a pose down for the passersby? I don't think so. But if Kelly says he has the metrics to prove it, I'll listen to that. Metrics are Chip Kelly's thing. While it is true that UCLA has yet to decide on a starting quarterback, wide receiver Kyle Ford said freshman Dante Moore, quote, knows the playbook really well and he's able to dissect defenses the way he wants to, unquote. We're looking for anything that suggests that we know who's going to be playing under center for UCLA this fall. Just hasn't been named. The Times scribe also went back and said that the offensive line isn't as thin as it used to be. Now, I'm not sure I buy that assessment. Look, the Bruins lost 3 offensive linemen to the NFL last year. That is not insignificant. That is a big order to fill. But we apparently have reason to believe a transfer, Kadir Kunta, will line up at left tackle. For the Dodgers, it is presumed that Gus Varland from AAA Oklahoma City will take the place of Joe Kelly on the Major League roster while Kelly recovers from an inflamed forearm. Now, Varland was originally drafted and taken by the Dodgers. Milwaukee snatched him in the Rule 5 draft, but the Brewers wind up cutting Varland. Since he's returned to the Dodgers organization, Varland has been with Oklahoma City and has compiled a minuscule 1.42 ERA. Do you remember Michael Busch, by the way? Do you? The guy had a cup of coffee with LA once or twice. The problem is that they just can't find a place for him in the Dodgers lineup. He's a second baseman by trade, right? The Dodgers have a glut of randos quality randos, but randos nonetheless, who play middle infield, you know? He could also, you might sit there and go, well, why can't they shift him to the corner? Good luck with that. Max Muncy is playing third base. You're going to bench Freddie Freeman? Of course not. Of course not. But Michael Busch has hit 16 home runs since July 1st. 16. Somebody's got to find a spot for this guy somewhere. I don't know how. I don't know where. They're not even, we'll have to find out if JD Martinez is going to be on the DL. Maybe Busch gets another shot. We don't think Martinez is going on the IL. But that's the only possible slot for this guy to get any time whatsoever in the major leagues. The Dodgers, once again, surprisingly deep. Sterling Brown spent 10 glorious days with the Lakers last season, but he's apparently signing to play for a German team, Alba Berlin. Is it a loss for the purple and gold? Is it? I don't know. He played 4 games and scored exactly 0 points. You tell me. Best of luck. Brush up on your German. It's a pretty harsh language to hear, but enjoy yourself. Oktoberfest is around the corner. The Galaxy have sent an international roster spot to Inter Miami in exchange for something called general allocation money. Now look, I've said this before. As much as I love soccer, I have no interest in learning the Byzantine rules of MLS and the salary cap. I have no desire to spend what little remaining time I have on this planet to know what GAM is or TAM is. The upshot is this. If the Galaxy are doing something like that, it kind of hints that they're nearing a roster move. And we talked about a potential one for a forward from the Premier League yesterday. Rams coaches faced the media to happy talk all that they learned on Saturday. For his part, defensive coordinator Raheem Morris noticed something that to me is a little alarming. He tried to be smiley about it, but no, this alarmed me. The team was so young that simply walking out onto the field at SoFi Stadium was a wow moment for them. Quote, that's the beauty of it, particularly the young group. Everything's brand new, right? With most of the guys out there, a lot of the guys I'd say that was their first NFL game. And that was their first time walking out to SoFi, which I did not realize until the night up, when you walk around and watch guys look into the stands and they're like, wow, I forgot we haven't come down here for our practices this year. Wait. The team is so young that they have no idea what an NFL stadium looks like? That's concerning. Do you really want these players to be so in awe of the moment that they're looking up at the circular scoreboard instead of the guy they're trying to keep from getting into the end zone? Yikes. I'm starting to really think the Rams are going to be in the running for the top draft pick the way this thing is starting to sound, guys. I'm not trying to be a hater at all. I love watching the Rams play. I grew up a Rams fan. This is not good news. I wanted to repeat, though, because, again, if you are searching for positives, I just want to repeat something I mentioned Sunday, at least as a foundation. The Rams know what they have in terms of offensive skill positions, and this matters to Sean McVay, obviously. They might even have more depth at wide receiver if they want to go with some sort of spread offense when they fall behind in a game. Because Puka Nacua is really, again, making a name for himself with the coaching staff. Sean McVay has noticed, he has described himself as a, quote, huge fan, unquote, of Nacua. So at least that part is resolved. The Rams waived defensive back Richard LeCount III, and if you wonder why, it's because we could LeCount him missing 3 tackles against the Chargers on Saturday. For the Chargers, by the way, while I still assert that the 92 yards that rookie Elijah Dotson rushed for won't make a huge difference in the big picture, after all, he got all of those yards in the second half when the Rams were playing not just scrubs, but apprentice scrubs, right? It does matter, at least for the Chargers, in terms of where Dotson lands in the depth chart. The Chargers have waived second-year running back Larry Roundtree on Monday. So Dotson did make an impression. Finally, USC basketball, they went on a brief tour of Europe Bronny James is just going to have to use his dad's money in the meantime to ever go see the old country, I suppose. He went on a brief tour of Europe, and the Trojans went 3-0. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me if you think that the newcomers at USC will make an impact on defense. Tell me how much speed actually will kill for UCLA. And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.